surprising. In March of 1999, a man reported a strange occurrence in Northern California. He was driving up Interstate 5 to visit a friend in Oregon, and at around 10 p.m. he decided to pull off the highway and take a break and find some place to eat. When he couldn't find anywhere to eat, he decided to just hang out in his car on the side of the road, eat some snacks he had had. Since he was nice and relaxed, he dozed off for a little bit. However, he was awakened by a large thud. When he got out of his car to investigate, he saw a decent-sized rock on the hood of his car. Interesting. He got back in his car after removing the rock and decided to start up his engine and head out, because this was pretty weird. However, when he turned on the headlights, standing in front of him was a large, around 7 or 8 foot tall creature that was super hairy and that just stared right back at him, just for a moment, and then turned away and walked back into the woods. This was a story published by Tom Harris in How Stuff Works, and it's just one of the countless stories about the big phenomenon of Bigfoot. I'm going to explore what Bigfoot is and where it came from, the legends of Bigfoot in modern day, and the evidence available that proves its existence. I'm sure most of you have heard of Bigfoot at some point or other, especially living in California, where it seems to be ever so prevalent. But what is Bigfoot? According to Jim Bynum, an author who writes a lot about Bigfoot, the 20th century description of Bigfoot is a 7 to 8 foot tall, dark, hairy creature that has a really bad odor, screams, and performs acts of strength. Bigfoot is said to roam the forests and mountains of the northwest of the United States and the British Columbia region of Canada. The origination of Bigfoot started back in Native American folklore, and they described Bigfoot as this large, hairy, human-like creature with very large feet. As you can see in this Native American drawing, this is a depiction of what they saw Bigfoot as. However, according to Columbia Encyclopedia, the Native Americans called it Sasquatch, which you may have heard. So Bigfoot and Sasquatch are interchangeable in this sense, although there's a lot of speculation about Bigfoot and Sasquatch in general. So Bigfoot entered pop culture in 1958. This is when it was reintroduced to the population in the United States mostly. The American Spectator says that the legends of Bigfoot in modern day started with Albert Ostman in British Columbia. He claimed to be captured by Bigfoot and held captive for 6 days in 1924. He reported this instance to the police, however, there is no solid proof that he was actually held captive, says St. James Encyclopedia. The more commonly known story took place in Willow Creek, Northern California. As National Geographic describes it, this event created the big phenomenon of Bigfoot once again in our modern day. Jerry Cruz, as pictured here, was a bulldozer driver. And one day, while he was out at work near the woods, he found a series of large footprints. He then took a cast of this, which you can see in the picture, and local newspapers published it in 1958. This is when the news really spread that Bigfoot was perhaps real. However, many years later, a man named Ray Wallace, who was the boss of Jerry Cruz, the bulldozer driver, came out on his deathbed to say that he had faked the footprints and left them there for someone to find. However, the news had already spread that perhaps there was a Bigfoot, and it was too late to take it back. So when it comes to the real evidence of Bigfoot, what do we really know? There are 2 major instances where evidence has been found and people have really taken into account that Bigfoot could be real. The first one was a Bigfoot sighting in British Columbia. The Desert Sun newspaper in 1977 released an article that reported a 7-foot tall hairy creature with 14-inch footprints that was stalking around the forest. There were 7 witnesses that confirmed this, and when police showed up to the scene, they also confirmed these footprints to be real. The next major study, which is even more groundbreaking, was done by the University of Oxford, as reported by Time magazine. The University of Oxford conducted a study on Bigfoot DNA that analyzed 30 different types of supposed Bigfoot hair that many people donated or they gathered from museums. When they conducted all this research, it was found that multiple hairs discovered of these 30 were from an unknown species. So this means that the DNA that they found in these hairs did not match any known species that we know of now. It suggested that the DNA was similar to perhaps a bear or a different kind of hairy creature. And so that's why this is the main piece of evidence that many people believe Bigfoot to be real with. So overall, Bigfoot is this massive, massive phenomenon all over the United States. He or she, my bad, is a big hairy creature that lives in the woods very close to our own home of San Luis Obispo, supposedly. However, it started with legends back in Native American folklore. However, over the years, the real evidence of either bones or actual fur or a skeleton of it have never been found. Only the hair and the footprints, however, as we have figured out, some of the footprints are already fake that people believe to be real. So now it's up to you to decide whether you believe in Bigfoot or